Hey there. Welcome to the Pine Island Experience podcast. I'm Joanna Anderson with my husband, Trygve. Each of our episodes will be conversations with fellow Pine Islanders.
The goal of our podcast is to share with you our experiences, what we have found to be fun, and what makes the Pine Island experience so unique.
I ask people when they purchase the equipment, mostly younger people. The price of my equipment has put a lot of younger people who would not have the money to spend, has given them the opportunity to have good equipment. I usually put a picture in my ads of a young person that sent me a picture. I always say when they buy it, now what you got to do, I give you a really good deal on this. So what you got to do is you got to take a picture of the next big fish you get with your fishing rod and can I use it in my ads? And everybody says yes. And I give them my card and they text it to me or email it to me. And it's pretty fun getting them. They're always excited to send them back. On my new Pine Island special, I got pictures of guys that have caught big red grouper, tarpon. Some of the people that have caught tarpon are 12 and 13 years old.
Captain Ron of Captain Ron's Rod and Reel Combos has built something special here on Pine Island, creating quality, affordable gear and a growing community of happy anglers. He is most proud of how he can help kids. And now, here's Captain Ron. Captain Ron Seidle is here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
You own Captain Ron's Custom Rods and Reels. You were doing quite well. I know we were talking about that before we started this. But congratulations. It's very exciting. We want to learn all about that today.
Thank you. It's been a hobby for my wife and I, and we enjoy doing it. And I think certainly one of the high points of it is I get to talk to a lot of fishermen, and I get to steal a lot of ideas. And I give them, it's give and take. But I've certainly met a lot of people that I would have never met on the island because of it. And if there's a fishing island anywhere, this is it. Everybody's either a fisherman or interested in being a fisherman or doing something with the water. And so it's a great place to do it.
Well, let's talk about where you were from originally, where you grew up or worked before you discovered the island.
I was born in northwestern Pennsylvania, lived in a small town, even went to college in that small town. And then when I graduated from college, I got a job with a corporation this is really aging me by telling you the name of the corporation. It was American Motors Corporation. Now we have a big three. Then there was a big four, and it was one of the auto manufacturers. So of course, you don't have a corporate job with American Motors and being in Clarion, Pennsylvania. That's where I was from. So I got to move around a lot after that, and then eventually came back and went to work in our family business and got my own Chevrolet dealership and then eventually ended up here.
How did you discover Pine Island?
Completely by accident. We decided that we wanted to be somewhere in Florida, and certainly fishing was a hobby of mine. And we spent a month in Fort Myers Beach, and it was okay, but we knew there had to be something better. So we had a few requirements, and one was we have a border collie that is our buddy, and we needed a place that we could have him. I also needed a place that I could keep a boat. We contacted a realtor and told him those were two rules that had to be. My wife then was still working from home, so she was able to work from Fort Myers, and I had the day off. And I just came to Pine Island. And I first met Lachey, and it was prior to a hurricane, any of the big hurricanes, not Charlie, but prior to Ian. Came across the bridge and met Lachey and thought, this is a quirky little place, and it fit my personality very well. And then, the further I went and got to the crossroads at Stringfellow, I thought, this is the Florida Keys, or old Florida anyway. And the more I went, the more I kept saying, this is what I'm looking for. And what I actually came for was I heard there was a pier. And I was thinking of if we were going to be here, I wanted to see what the pier was like. Went to the end of Bokeelia, had lunch at Captain Con's, and of course had mullet for lunch the first day. Checked the pier out and thought, yep, this will work. I hadn't got a boat yet. I didn't know when that was going to happen. Got back to the realtor and said, find something on Pine Island for me. First time I was ever here, she found us a place in Blue Crab Key, which has docking facilities, and you're allowed to have a dog. And so that it met those two requirements. And it was the first place we looked at, and bought it the next day. It was exactly, and it was pure luck.
And meant to be.
Yep. We love it here. And in fact, I mentioned before we had a home in Belize, and I don't regret selling it at all, because this is better. This is better than being there. And as I've said too, I built a home when I was 50 years old, and Belize at 50 is not the same as Belize at 73 for healthcare reasons and all the other things that my interests are not the same now as they were when I was 50 years old. So, as I was joking to somebody the other day, I said, I can't even get up on a table now to dance on one. So, so it made sense to get back or to come here. And in fact, this last year, we went down in November and thought we were going to stay. Came back early, and I wasn't here a week, and the house sold, and kind of relieved and said, okay, it's done, and we're going to be in Pine Island a lot, and that makes me very happy.
When did fishing first become part of your life?
Oh, before I can remember. My father's job was one that he worked 6 days, and in the old days in a car dealership, 6 nights. Didn't have a manager that commanded me. You were the manager, you were the owner. And so he worked all the time. Didn't really take me and my brothers very often, but when we went, we really were happy to go. But one thing he did do is in 1 week of the summer, we would go to a lodge in Canada. And he would take it's the same week every summer, same lodge. And from time I can remember, they allowed me to go out and do whatever I wanted to do. I was just free to fish, and that's what I did every moment I was there. That got me started and interested in different kinds of fishing, and I learned a lot about it then. So we'd look forward to that week every year, and that was a start. And then when you get old enough that you can walk to a neighbor's pond to fish, start to do that, and then you get a driver's license, and so of course immediately I got a Jeep because I needed something to be able to get back in to go fishing places. We had a river that flowed through our town. Spent a lot of time on wading and fishing, and we weren't very far from Lake Erie. I'm kind of skipping ahead pretty far, but I started fishing on Lake Erie, and in about another 30 days, I'm going back to Lake Erie, and I'll be there June, July, and August fishing for walleyes.
Oh.
And we now have a RV and a marina up there, and chase the mice and spiders out of the RV and take up summer living there and fish every day that the wind doesn't blow.
Oh, you're smiling. That brings you a lot of happiness.
It does. My life's as good as it possibly could be. And Pine Island's a big part of that.
What made you decide to build your business?
Start as a hobby, completely as a hobby. The fishing tackle business is in a state of flux right now, and has been for a little while, in that there was a time our choices were very limited as far as manufacturers are concerned with rods and reels. And with the advent of trading with China, I think, a lot of the Chinese products came here, and a lot of them weren't worth anything. They were cheaply made. But just as we were growing up, and this is a little bit of a stereotype, but it used to be if something was made in Japan, people made fun of it. Now, if something's made in Japan, it's high tech and it's as good as it can get. Well, China's moving in that direction. They're not just making junk anymore. They're in fact, they're building 90% of all the fishing reels that are built. Even the big names have found that they can have them built to their specifications there, and that's what got me started. I saw that there was some availability there at affordable prices, and I bought a lot of stuff that wasn't worth buying initially, but I kept after it, and I had a contact there that helped me along the way, and I found some. Actually, my main reel is actually a Japanese company that now has their reels built in China, which is kind of crazy. But they developed them. They designed them and all, and then took them to a manufacturer there. And I'm dealing with that manufacturer now. So the person the company that I'm buying my rods and reels from make them. And if you buy in some quantity and after a little research, I think I've come up with a really good product, and I'm hearing from all my customers that it is a good product. It was a product that they allowed me to design. I had them make a rod for me that, as I've said a number of times, was a little too stiff for trout and not stiff enough for big snook, right in the middle for redfish. And so I had them build a one-piece graphite rod, which is a very expensive rod, with stainless steel eyelets and made for salt water. I had a little bit of gingerbread put on it, made it just exactly what I would want for a rod if I had one. And I found after I got them, I was the typical fisherman here because everybody else wanted it too. It's become a big hit, and it's my brand. And my brand is Pine Island Special.
That's a great story about that.
It's fun.
Did you find anything challenging in starting this new venture?
So, yeah, getting the proper quality. And I mean, you can get quality, but you won't be able to sell it because it'll be too expensive. And I can't be competing with the big box stores. So I had to be smart about it and try to find something that worked. Just as a sidebar to that exciting news, I had the company that's building the rod for me. I was trying to find a reel that would fit the same standards that I needed. Eventually, my contact there said, "Well, tell me what those standards are. I mean, what do you need it to be?" I sent her pictures of different reels that I liked, and she informed me that the reels I sent to her weren't even made by the companies that were labeled on them. They were made by other companies, or even some that she knew. She knew the people that made them. Not to go into too much detail, but after 4 reels, we've tore 4 reels apart, and her company is making my reels for me, and they're going to be called Pine Island Specials also, and I'll have them in the fall. It will be a reel that'll fit the rod perfectly, and it'll be for trout, redfish, snook reel, and it'll be affordable.
Great name.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting there in your booth and stuff, do people say something like, how are these different from the mass market ones? Does that come up in the conversation? And if so,
Always.
then how do you display or explain?
Every day. Credibility is something that you can't describe credibility to somebody. They look at you like you're crazy. I know what this is the customer speaking. I know what I like, and I know what's good and what's bad, and I've never heard of what you're describing to me, so it's got to be bad. Well, it's also priced right. So I had a lot of people try them, and now I've earned that credibility. I'm doing a lot of repeat business, a lot of word of mouth business. And I also in my ads, I put the specifications of the products that I'm selling in there. I mean, I put them out there. I want people to look at it and see what the drag strength is in the reels. And how many ball bearings they have, and are they made of stainless steel or are they not, and all those things. So I think that's helped too in disclosing as much as I could, and really just disclosing my research. That's all. That's got a lot of people stopping at the Orange Tent.
So what's it like in that vein? What's it like connecting with this fishing community, since it seems like that's a dominant hobby?
Fun. It's people just like me. I mean, they'll say the guy that stops, he fished the last 2 days, and so did I. And we don't, people don't tell them exactly where you fished, but I'm happy to share areas where I'm fishing and things that are happening out there. Our fish in the wintertime, just generally, this isn't everyone, go out into the Gulf where it's warmer, when it's cold, when it gets cold here, and then when it starts warming up, the bait comes in, they follow it in, and they come back in again. And they're at different stages of coming in and going out. Some fish, like our sheepheads, come in when it gets cold, and they stay here till it's cold. And then when it starts warming up, like right now, our whitebait starts coming in and the sheepheads start leaving. They go back out onto the wrecks out into the Gulf and deeper water. And that's the information that you exchange with people. Where have you seen bait? And I don't know this for sure, but I think that there's the fish that travel through here that are going north and south, because certainly there is a north and south pattern going up to the Panhandle and coming back down. I think they cut through Matlacha and go in between Cape Coral and Pine Island and then up and out Boca or into Charlotte Harbor. And so we get to see some pretty exciting fish sometimes coming through our area. I got a 30-pound cobia in 4 foot of water.
Wow.
Casting for trout one day. It's who would ever think that it would be there? Well, I've caught lots of cobia. Not always legal ones. Most of them are undersized. I'm sure the larger ones are out traveling through the Gulf, but some cut through the Matlacha, go up to the top of Boquilla, and they're there. And so if you're out there looking for a cobia, that's a good place to fish. I just give you a good tip there.
Thank you. And the listeners will thank you.
Any good stories of somebody that's stopped by, bought equipment, and then had a success and then come back to talk to you about it while you've been hosting your booth?
Almost daily.
Excellent.
Yeah, almost daily. I ask people when they purchase the equipment, mostly younger people. The price of my equipment has put a lot of younger people who would not have the money to spend, has given them the opportunity to have good equipment. I usually put a picture in my ads of a young person that sent me a picture. I always say when they buy it, now what you got to do, I give you a really good deal on this. So what you got to do is you got to take a picture of the next big fish you get with your fishing rod and you, and can I use it in my ads? And everybody says yes. And I give them my card and they text it to me or email it to me. And it's pretty fun getting them. They're always excited to send them back. On those, my new Pine Island special, I got pictures of guys that have caught big red grouper, tarpon. Some of the people that have caught tarpon are 12 and 13 years old with them there, because there is tarpon in our ponds and stuff around here, and you don't have to go to Boca Grande to catch them. They're around everywhere. So that's
exciting.
That's certainly a fun part of it.
So you mentioned the word of mouth, doing that. So how are the testimonials impacting the business or assisting you?
As good as they could be. Another thing, I don't let there be a problem. If someone would come to me and say, I'm not satisfied with this, we'll work it out. It's going to be fun. And I'm not going to let a problem be out there. I guess it gets back, it's going to be fun. And I just won't let it happen. That's all there is to it. We'll work out something, whatever it is. Yesterday I had a guy come to me and want to know if I fixed rods. He had a couple fishing rods that the eyelets were rusted off. And he said, "Can you put eyelets on?" I said, "Yeah, I can." I said, "But it's not going to look like a factory job if I do them." And I said, "Have you been anywhere and priced what it is to get an eyelet put on?" It's $25, $35 an eyelet. Pine Island Specials cost $40. And I had one eyelet that was completely off and another one that was rusty. And I said, if you put one on for $35, you could have a brand new rod with stainless steel eyelets for $40. Why would you do that? I said, it's time to retire these. And then he and I joked about it. Well, he goes, well, okay, I do want that new rod. He says, I'm going to take these old ones home and bury them.
Aw. Well, you've seen a lot of growth in a short amount of time. I read about it on Facebook, that it's just taken off. What do you credit
More than
that
I've
with?
ever imagined, to the point that not to get into too specific about numbers, but I have to buy a lot to be able to sell them for that price. Mm-hmm. And it was a little scary buying a lot initially because I didn't know if anybody was going to come and buy them or weren't. And frankly, I didn't get a sample. I was just going with what my representative in China was telling me that they could build them. They sent me movies of them making them, and they sent me photos of them testing them with weight on the end of them, seeing how much weight they'd pick up before they break, and they were breaking them on purpose to see, it'll pick up 12 pounds straight up off the 12-pound weight straight off the floor, but it won't pick up 20. And they'd snap in their hands, but we needed to know that. Mm-hmm. And so just as I needed credibility, that's how they sold their credibility to me. And getting samples is a little bit of a problem because it's a 90-day process. And so if you get a sample and then like it and then want the rod, now you're 180 days. That's a half a year. That's the downfall to it. It takes so long to get the product. But I'm learning now to order enough. I did run out for 2 weeks here recently, and I had a list of 25 people that I had to call when the new ones come in because they weren't going to go buy one somewhere else. They had one, or their friends had them, and they wanted more than that. So when they got in, I called all those people, and I think every single one of them came and got the rods.
It's a good thing you took that chance and you had all those in the beginning,
Yeah.
And then you have all these customers that want more.
Yeah. And somebody else would have sold them rods and they would have had something else, but I don't think they would have got as good ones for the price that they're.
But it is interesting that you bring this up. I think we've all been spoiled over the years by FedEx, Amazon, emails where, you wait 1 to 2 days tops normally for something to get turned around, but you have a challenge of the supplier and the time to build the product. And then the shipping, I'm sure it goes through customs and some additional checks. So it doesn't get here like overnight.
No, they come by ship,
mm-hmm.
container ship. And when it leaves, it takes about 20 days to get here on a container ship. And then when they get in the container, they don't just take my rods out and send them to me immediately. I don't have that priority, that's for sure. And they got to unload those containers, and then they got to go through customs. They don't open. I've never seen that they've opened my boxes, but they get checked through that, and then FedEx gets them. And I have to say, FedEx and UPS gets them here. They come into California, and then they ship them here in about 4 days.
But it's just the entirety of the timeline to get from start to finish.
I've learned a lot about that too. I'll tell you that.
What keeps you so excited to do this every day? What would you say?
One, I only do it on weekends.
Oh.
That keeps me, and a little that, I guess that's part of the story too, in that I don't know if you've ever been out in a boat around here on weekends, but there's a lot of people that are just here on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of boat rentals and all that. And so the water, even as vast as our water is, there's a lot of people out there. Come Monday morning, not very many people out there then. So we decided we were going to quit fishing on weekends. Well, got to find something to do. And it started. So we hold to that. I'm excited Friday night when I'm getting the truck all put together and get ready to go to sell our stuff, but also to meet people and to talk to them about fishing and all the things that go along with that. But I have to say, Sunday night when I get home, after I've been out in the sun for 8 hours for 2 days. And I'm a little weary, but I get 5 days to recharge, and I get to be fishing for those 5 days while I'm recharging.
Yes.
So that's how.
That's very clever on your part.
Well, lucky. It's not, I didn't know, but it's worked out, and it's luck.
We don't usually go out on the weekends. You're
Why
right
would
about
you?
it. There's too many people out there.
Yeah.
But weekdays, especially after season, it's fabulous.
Oh, it's wonderful out there now. And from a fisherman's standpoint, on weekends, there gets to be a lot of casual boaters that aren't particularly fishing. So they're rocking the boat, or they're getting close to you when you're fishing, or just interfering. They don't know they're interfering. They're out there having fun, whether it's whatever it is. I understand why. I mean, they have as much right to do that as I do fishing, but I don't have to go out when they're there then either. I can plan a little bit better and do mornings and evenings and through the week and be by myself.
Now, I think I know the answer after listening to you, but what's your favorite fish to catch? Favorite species?
That changes.
Oh, okay.
That changes with the seasons. I would say the fish I catch the most of is our trout, because they're easy to catch. I like action when I go out. They're good to eat, and the bycatch with them is. I mean, there's other fish that are around. I like to find that big fish when I'm out, and I'm using 10-pound test line and a medium rod, and so if I can hook a black tip, a 3 or 4 foot black tip, and have them on for 30 minutes, that makes for a fun day. Same with, I mentioned, cobia. We run into Spanish mackerel from time to time. I smoke fish, so that's, in my opinion, one of the best smoking fish there is. And or a king mackerel, some kind of mackerel. I guess my favorite fish is the last one I caught.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So where do people find out about your rods and your reels, as well as where you're going to be each weekend?
We're normally at the Eagle's Nest. Yvonne and Tammy have been just wonderful, and they encourage us to set up there and have all along. And it's 1 mile from my house, which is nice. If I need something, somebody comes in and asks me for something that I didn't bring, I can run home and get it. I can't thank them enough for letting us be there. And then we do the events, whether it's the Stone Crab Festival or the Island Market at the Lutheran Church, which is this Saturday, by the way. This will be the last one of the year. I'm having enough fun with this that we're going up to fish for walleyes, as I mentioned, but I'm going to fly down for Mango Mania
Yeah.
in July. And we're going to come down on Thursday and get our stuff put together and spend that Saturday doing that event, because, again, it's a lot of fun. I had another vendor tell me, well, you better get a fan. It's going to be warm.
Maybe 2 fans.
Okay. All right.
Well, it will seem cooler when it's now at Winn-Dixie. There's some more tents. It seems cooler than it.
There's been a couple of Julys where it's been brutal.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
fun, but brutal. And we're walking around. You're going to be pretty much set.
We're in the shade, and it helps with that. And I can't tell you how fast the days go when I'm doing it. Start, and it just seems like I look at my watch and it's 3:00 in the afternoon already.
Well, you're making new friends.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
coming up talking to you.
Yeah. I have a lot of people that, not everybody that stops is there to buy something. They've bought stuff in the past and want to tell me about it, or we're exchanging fishing stories or tips. I constantly have people telling me that I should be looking for this particular product or that particular product. At this point in time, I don't know how much expansion I want to do, but who knows?
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about the business that we didn't ask you today?
I can't think of what it would be. We've pretty much covered it. I think I've been able to achieve something that although we do make a little bit of money on it, we have to, or we you certainly wouldn't do it because it's a large outlay to purchase a large quantity. I got the kids in Pine Island fishing with good equipment. I think that's what if I had to mention something, I can see in those kids' eyes when they come up and look at that. That was me standing there when I was their age, wanting to have that stuff, going to places that sold tackle and just more than once, kids have asked me how much I want for something and they don't have that much money. They reach in their pocket and show me how much they got and we make a deal.
Aww.
That's what it's about.
I'll remember that.
They do. They do. I see them again and again. I have a lot of kids apply for jobs too.
Sure.
Because I have a young man that works with me. And initially we started him because I don't speak Spanish and I have a lot of Spanish customers. I needed somebody to help me with that. And he's bilingual. And, he's 13 years old and he helps me unload and stuff and comes to my rescue when with all the new apps on the phones and stuff. That's all well and good, but there's nothing like somebody talking. Somebody smiling at you and explaining, and the apps on phones are cumbersome. But they get it done if you have to.
Well, we certainly enjoyed this. We know how much you're enjoying your business too by listening to you. It's a good thing.
Thanks.
What you're doing.
I appreciate you inviting me here today, and thank you.
And we'll be seeing you at the Eagle's Nest.
Yeah, we're
in Mango Mania.
We'll be at the Lutheran Church this Saturday and the Eagle's Nest on Sunday, and then I'm going to the Keys fishing for a week or so. We were supposed to go this coming week, but I don't know if you've looked at the weather for this week, but it's going to blow most of the week, and it's going to blow down there too. So when we finish up this weekend, we're going to go and fish with a friend of mine from Islamorada for a number of days, and this might be the last weekend. I don't plan that far ahead, though, so I don't know. Who knows? It doesn't take much to throw the tent out and the tubs, reels, and our boxes of rods out to do it. So we'll see.
Thanks so much. We loved it.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed our Pine Island Experience podcast. If you have any ideas for us, people to interview, or any comments, please feel free to email them to us at pineislandexperience@gmail.com. That's pineislandexperience, all one word, @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us, and you may subscribe to this podcast using all the major catchers like Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening, and remember, island life is a constant vacation. We'll see you on the next podcast.